Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Here locally in the community, make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Campbell.
All right, we have Dwayne Keene in the chat. Good afternoon to all. Let's go, Detroit Lions. One pride, Kings of the North Division champion title. All grit, never back down. 8-1, make it 9-1, 100%. I do have an update about the roster. This week, you will not see Ifeatu Melifonwu, Emmanuel Mosley, or Broderick Martin this Sunday. I don't know if any of them are going to be called up and just had healthy scratches. But I think they're going to wait till Monday to do anything because they need every roster spot open for who can play. I'm not saying they can't play because all of them have been a full participant today. So that kind of throws me off that they are out for this week, but it is what it is. But I know Broderick has to be called up by Monday or he's off the roster. He'll be back to the IR for the rest of the season. And I think it's a waste for somebody that's been a full participant for 3 straight weeks. But at the same time, we've had these practice squad guys come up and provide us part. Pat O'Connor got a sack last week. It is what it is. And it's because we get to see Zadarius Smith this weekend, who's been a full participant all week. So that's huge. But last night, yeah, and it is because it's the Jags. I mean, we don't need a blitzing safety right now. We don't need an extra corner. The corners have been doing their jobs just fine. We play a bend, don't break defense. We're giving up yards by the buttload between the 20s. Where we clamp down is the red zone. That touchdown from C.J. Stroud to Tank Dell, John Mechie, that was his only one, and it was in the red zone. He threw it from the 17-yard line. That's only the 7th touchdown we've given up all season in the passing game. Kudos to what we're doing in the red zone. And I think we've given up, 11, 12 rushing touchdowns? I think it's 19 total touchdowns we've given up. That's kind of amazing through 20 games. The scoring defense is why we're winning. But, man, did Washington's defense run out of gas in that 4th quarter. They were leading the game 10-6, and then all of a sudden it was a 20-point onslaught by the Eagles. They made it a game. They got the late touchdown. They got the 2-point conversion, but failed on the onside kick. But when you have to announce it, oh, I know. If they'd have took that field goal at midfield when it was a 42-yard and they had a kicker who had made it from 44 yards already, they should have taken that field goal. 100%. I agree. Rolling the dice on a 4th and 4 in that situation, you're not Dan Campbell and you don't have guys like we have on our roster. That's all I got to say. But kudos to Philly winning. Now they're 8-2, which means if the Vikes want to stay relevant, they got to win this week too. And I think they will. It's just now they have to, because every loss for the teams below us, it doesn't matter what it is. Every loss for the teams below us, it changes the seeding. If somebody else is close, they could move up into their spot. I said all year, I think 2 teams come out of the North, possibly 3, but it was doubtful because I think there's going to be like 4 or 5 teams with 10 wins, and not all of them are going to be division winners because some teams are getting hot at the right time and some teams are falling off at the wrong time. So am I, Dwayne. I chose the Commanders. I admit it. I thought that for sure they'd win. But like I said, that defense ran out of gas, and it is what it is. Jalen Hurts stealing another touchdown from Saquon Barkley. So Saquon said, "Fine, I'm not getting tackled at the goal line again because you're not stealing my stats, fucker." But we're up against the 32nd defense in the NFL. They give up a buttload of passing yards. They give up almost 130 yards rushing on the ground, um, and they don't stop teams in the red zone because their secondary is porous, to say the least. They've given up 19 passing touchdowns and 11 rushing touchdowns. That's 30 touchdowns in the NFL, which makes them like 22nd in scoring. It's not good. They are also bad at the third down defense. They're bad at red zone defense. So all this says it should be a blowout win. And if everything goes right, I expect one. I just wrote my article and I just did it by the numbers, and I was like, well, if everything goes right, it's going to be like 48-17. If it goes bad, we still win 24-21. Because I always do best case, worst case scenario. I just don't see a case where Jaguars can win starting McCorkle Jones. He's played in 3 games, threw for 139 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 picks so far. He hasn't been good. It's kind of the way I felt about the Titans game, remember? I said 42-17 to begin with. Did I think it would be 52? No. So I bumped up. I added 6 points because of Jake Bates. Because we can kick 50, 60-yard field goals with no problem. You saw that. Those things, even though they were close to the upright, they were up so high they could have made it from 70. And if we're up big, is this the time when Dan Campbell says, screw it, Jake, go ahead. 70 yards, hit it. We're at home, we're indoors, our dome doesn't open. No wind effect whatsoever. Oh, I understand it's the Jags. And everybody's like, oh, this could be a trap game. I said, I think it's a trap game that even if we play bad, we still win. That's where I'm at with it. The Jags can't close out close games. They've lost all of them. And you know what's weird is that we were talking about one-score games, and if you flip the records, guess who'd still be atop the NFC North if you flipped all the one-score games to the opposite of what their turnout was? It would still be Lions at top at 1-1 in the division. That's the crazy stat to me. And even though it doesn't matter, I'm just saying if you flipped it all, the Lions would still be 5-4 and top of the division. So we had 4 one-score games. You can probably name them all: the Rams, the Bucks, the Vikings, and now the Texans. We'll get into more details about tonight's game. But keys to the victory, the same as what we've been saying: run the ball, pound the rock, right down their throat, set up the play action, hit them over the top, because their secondary is weak, very weak. They've got one, maybe two good players on the entire defense in the secondary. They've got a couple of standouts on the defensive line and one good linebacker. That's what they have. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. This is not a good Jaguars. It's not well coached. And I know Dougie Peterson. We're the little giant. Oh, let's look at the schedule. They're losing to the bye week, just like the Panthers are. Yeah, I feel like that too. I said it's either we're gonna win by a landslide or we're gonna win by a field goal. That's how it goes. If it's a bad game, we're gonna win by a field goal. I feel exactly the same about this game as I did about the Titans game. Nice job, Moonscar. Oh, I 100% think Goff is going to rebound, Steve. That was an anomaly. And if you actually go back and watch the game in its entirety, Goff wasn't as bad as his stats look. Oh, I know how you barely made it. One of them was the anytime touchdown scorer by Saquon Barkley. The bye week is no joke. They are a powerhouse. How many teams have came out of the bye week and lost? It's been a lot, really. How many teams, because of practice, have came out of the bye week more injured? It's been insane how bad it is. But I'll take the screenshot there, buddy. I am literally up $620 total gambling this year. But it's good to see Moonscar, Zach J, and Fred Peterson in the house. It's great to see everybody. And if you're on the X platform and you want to comment or ask a question, we can see them. I just can't respond to them in the chat. I can respond in the chats of all the rest of them: Facebook, Moonstar, all of that. I'm waiting for one of my little quarter bets on the 16 leg parlays to hit. Bates does have a hell of a leg. I mean, we saw that with the Panthers, and now we're seeing it with Detroit. 14 of 14 with the long of 58. He's having a hell of a year. Third longest in Lions history. Don't believe what Mike Tirico said. The longest field goal in Lions history. I was like, wait a minute. Prater set a record at 64, and didn't Jason Hanson hit a 62-yarder to win a game? I digress. Because Prater was the record holder until Justin Tucker beat it in our house at 66 with a kick that never should have happened. But that's another story. Because there was 2 penalties on that. Man, JMO JMO had St. Brown cracking up. Every team should personally lose one to the Bears. I like Master Jake Bates better, so they keep Everflus. I don't want to lose a game to the Bears. I don't care what anybody says. If we're going to lose one, it'll be the December game. I'm going to knock on wood right now. This is the end of losing on Thanksgiving this year. I mean, we got the Jags and Indy. And I'm not saying they're bye weeks, but look how both teams are playing. They're starting Anthony Richardson, the guy with the lowest completion percentage since Achilles Smith in 2002. That does not bode well. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if we go with 2 losses. He wasn't just cheerleading. He was coaching. He was coaching that defensive line between every drive. Doesn't every team practice in a dome? The playing and the weather affects 100%. There's a reason why we have 2 outdoor fields at Allen Park. We practice outside when we're playing outside. We practice indoors when we're playing indoors. We practice indoors when we're closing it off to the media so that people don't see the trick plays that Ben Johnson is coming out of. Do you guys realize we run 18 plays a game out of the same exact formation? The 11-man formation we run with the trips bunch? We run 11 different plays out of that. There's a zone right, there's a zone left, there's a halfback screen, and a wide receiver screen. Yeah, yeah, you barely hit the score. You knew Jalen Hurts was going to get a goal line touchdown because the tush push still exists, and I told everybody it would. Jaden Daniels under 226, that was kind of surprising to me. I thought he'd have a better game. But Saquon Barkley over 90 yards. Good job. Um, they'll get another win because of any given Sunday. That defense is good enough to win, but the offense isn't. That's what it is. That's what it boils down to, Fred. Yes, that's exactly what he's doing. 18 plays at the same formation. It's like Ben is saying there's nothing you can do about it. We might in December, but we won't on Thanksgiving, is what I'm saying, Moonscar. And the only reason why I say we might, it truthfully depends on the weather. If it's a usual windy, very cold, blustery day outside, they have the advantage. I still think we can win. I'm just saying it gives them a better advantage. Love was cleared to play on Monday. He's been a full participant all week. I've been paying attention to the injury report every day, Paul Jones. But at the same time, I'm going to send a picture to put in my Fuck Your Feelings Friday because we all know that a Mr. Caleb Williams told his punter he won't be needed, right? Well, the stats say different. The stats say very different, and I'll show you. Because it's a fuck your feelings Friday. I have no fucks given anymore. This isn't just his throwing yards, guys. This is every yard he's assembled, rushing and passing combined. The entire offensive output by Caleb Williams versus their putter. 2,021 total yards. Corey Taylor, you're not going to have to punt much here, is what he told him on draft day. He has 2,153 yards. And yes, it is opening day of hunting season. Yeah, I know. He dodged it because he knows it was a horrible look. You're I understand what Caleb was saying and what he expected and what Ken expected too. Yeah, you know what? It was the beginning of the season. And we've been saying ever since they shortened the preseason, the first 2 weeks of the regular season is basically an extended preseason. Caleb Williams, Mr. 50-50. Yeah, Bears are averaging 5 punts a game, and what? Caleb's completing 5 passes a game. It evens out. I'm just playing. Um, no, but I remember in the off season when I was on Ken and Ken in the morning, and they were struggling to have topics to talk about. We specifically talked about the Bears roster. And Ken's like, with 3 number 1 wide receivers and one of a top 10 tight end, and with our number 1 pick overall, Caleb, there's no way Caleb Williams will fail. What about your O line? Oh, that's our only question, but we'll be fine. And I said, your O line is the biggest question mark coming into the season. Keeping the same offensive line coach that was here with Matt Nagy, Chris Henry Morgan, was a mistake. I said that going into the season. Now I will say at this point in the year, I had us losing to the Texans and I had us losing to Seahawks, but beating Dallas. I had us at 7-2 right now. The fact we're 8-1, we're playing on house money. I knew he was making Dallas a statement game. How many times did they run out a tackle eligible during that game? Hell, we had one where the tackle lined up at wide receiver, Mr. Dan Skipper. I think we did it 8 to 10 times that game, maybe 12. And I said that was going to happen on purpose, just to work that ref. Right. They didn't listen. We kept telling them as if there is a you went for 2 guys that were 5 ranks better than what you had. It's a lateral move. We've talked about this. We tried to warn them. So kudos to everybody who took Philadelphia, and I know that Dwayne and I that did that. I think even Will Vocal took the Commanders. Sorry, Will. We were wrong. That's something a lot of people need to learn how to say. I was wrong. I was mistaken. I was incorrect. More people need to learn how to say that instead of pointing fingers. Decker has been a full participant all week. He's fine. pretty sure he's playing. Yep, that is what happens when you buy a team. It's why we've left cap room on the. I've said this. We've got so many players that we have to decide if we want to keep them, and you can only keep so many. And thank God we got the Aleem deal done now, because now it's not a decision if it's Aleem or Hutch. All we have is Hutchinson to talk about. But at the same time, if Hutchinson does not get healthy and cannot get back, and I don't think he will, they're going to table that till about mid-season. You say that, but there was 0 sacks, Steve. Stan Skipper did a fine job. Brent, I have 8.5, but because I have a housing development across the street, I don't. I'd have to almost ask everyone if I can hunt my property. Right, bow hunting you don't have to ask, because I think the max range with the bow, and that's if you're amazing, is 200 yards. Yeah, 122 carries a piece. Right, and remember how it looked on USC's deep offense last year with the porous O line? And I said it's going to be a lot of the same. It's going to be hero ball. The difference is the NFL defenses don't allow hero ball to work all the time. Do they work every now and then? 100%. Hero ball works when everything else breaks down, but if your O line's breaking down, hero ball don't work. We also said he's not a read and react quarterback. He's a 1-2 check down read guy. And we said that coming out of college. And that's exactly what he's been. He's either hitting DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, or Swift on a check down. Everybody else is non-existent for the most part. Every now and then you'll see something to a Dunze. Every now and then you'll see something to Keenan Allen. But 9 times out of 10, it's because he's trying to extend the play because he's out of the pocket faster than most guys release a football. But as much as this could be a trap game for the Lions, it's just as big a trap for the Pack because that defense is legit. You know, that defense might hold them to under 200 yards. I'm not going to say they will. Oh, Cam Newton. Yeah. Last night the line moved to 14. So I don't think the rest will try and keep it close. You can't keep it close. When you're a bad team, good teams score. The only thing that will shoot the Lions in the foot is themselves. We've said this all season. There isn't a team that we're scared of in the NFL this year. The only way we lose is if we beat ourselves. And we damn near did versus the Texans. Just think about this. If CD3 doesn't intercept that last pass to Tank Dell, that's a dagger. We're done. We're cooked. That's how close this game was from going one way or the other. Yep, that's the way it was spelled in the AI, so I left it that way. That way. Smoking. That's what it is, Robert Brown. That's because the gun range was there first, Moonstar. Got 2 picks. Had a great game. The whole defense played like all-stars in the second half. Yes, he did. I think I'm taking the over. We had 4 sacks without Zadarius Smith in the lineup. How you doing, Ricky Scott? Good to see you. With that secondary, I'm gonna say the under. I think last week was an anomaly. I think there was 2 legit picks by I think there was only 2 legit picks by Goff in that last game. 2 of them were great defensive plays at the line, and then the Hail Mary, it is what it is. That's only a 15% success rate in the NFL anyways. I wonder if Justin Fields has sent Caleb a care package of nails, tissues, and a condolences card yet. Oh, that's great. Don't forget, we have 2, 6, and 8 left per spot. So if you want one, they're $10 a piece. Send me an email or a Facebook message, and we'll get the payment particulars in order. Right, it already moved to 14 last night, Moonstar, about midnight. The line is minus 14. And the way they build the berms, the sound goes up. You still hear it somewhat at times, but they're not open all the I, there was a couple of plays where he got beat around the edge. I didn't hear his name called in a lot of penalties, so I thought he had a decent game. And the fact that the penalty wasn't called on Derek Barnett for what he did to Goff there in the third quarter, but that's why Goff did what he did in the fourth quarter. I think it woke him up. All game, Goff had no expression, and it was weird. Through the first, second, and third quarters, I saw no expression. He wasn't upset. He wasn't happy. He was almost emotionless, like he was sitting in a fog the entire time. And then the helmet to helmet happened at the end of the third quarter. After that, Goff goes 6 of 8 and throws a touchdown screen to Amon-Ra St. Brown out of that same trip bunch 11-man formation. Hey, 100%. Yes, 100%. Zadarius Smith had the week off because it was his bye week. He had some personal stuff to attend to, which was his house had some flood damage from the hurricane that happened there a few weeks ago that he hadn't been able to attend to. He was able to do that, and he took it upon himself to fly out to Houston to be with the team. That speaks volumes to his character as a leader. And he helped coach the entire time on the sideline, was cheering the offense when they were on the field. He, it was great to see. But there really isn't a lot of news out there. Let me go see what I got from the PR department again. Nothing other than just the only guy that missed practice yesterday was Sam Laporta. Imagine falling asleep at dumpster fire Browns team and waking up the Super Bowl favorite. I can only imagine. Um, it we don't know how to act like this because we haven't been here before. And I'm not saying it gives us a pass to be total douche nozzles either. But we've taken it for so long. When we give it back, the teams that aren't used to taking it don't know how to react. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm hearing. Act like you've been there before. We haven't. This is our first time being this good this early in a season since 1951. If we win, when we win Sunday and go to 9-1, it'll be the first time since 1934. None of us were alive then. Hell, the last time we were not 8-1, my mom was just born in 51, and my dad was 2. What does that tell you? Think about that. My parents. I'm 54. You know what? I'm going to say the haul that Cleveland gave for Watson, even though at the time all he was suspended, he had been a top 10 quarterback in the league for 4 straight years. We're talking about a second year rookie, and people are labeling him a bust already, but much like a lot of people are labeling Caleb Williams a bust. I literally said, I said, he won't be a bust because he's a bad QB. He's going to be a bust because he went to Chicago. There's a big difference in that statement. I think Caleb Williams has a ton of talent, but he needed a year or two to sit and learn the NFL and the game speed and everything else. And I said the same thing about Hendon Hooker. And Hendon Hooker was considered a first round talent before his injury. He was the favorite for the Heisman even 2 weeks after his injury, which is what people forget. Blake Corum was the favorite then, and he hurt his leg in that Big Ten championship game. And Caleb won his. That's why he ended up with the Heisman. It took 2 injuries to get him the Heisman that year. And Bryce Young almost beat him out and missed him by like 15 votes. So it is what it is. Amen, Ricky. I think that was the worst thing they could have did. Trade and pay a guy before he ever played it down. They shouldn't have paid him till he came back off the suspension and had played. And if they'd have waited, I doubt they'd have gave him 50 plus million guaranteed like they did. Well, Browns fans are like, oh, let me put the bag over my head and say I hate it here. Cowboys fans are in the same boat now. But I can't say I feel sorry for franchises that have been there. I can say I feel sorry for the dog pound and the Cleveland fans because they're where we were in 2020 right now. You remember how bleak and abysmal 2020 was? I had a Steeler fan tell me Detroit fans hate them. I said, no, we love Steelers. They gave us our first non-loss in our first year with Dan Campbell in week 10. You guys remember that? 0-9 and looking like we couldn't even beat a cold, and we tied to go 3-13-1 to end the season. Well, I sent the link to Leonard. He must be busy today. But the Garden Gnomes here in effigy. We got Ken Catalone here. Meow. And of course, we all know how Amon Ra and Tim Patrick feels about it. They were the human FTP. Yeah, and do you remember that skit the following week on NFL on Fox? God, that was hilarious. Lions and Steelers get handled a box. They open it up and it's hi. I don't like it. It Lions fans are like, a tie! Yay! Yeah. Jack Fox, our special teams are close to being an MVP. Our special teams, our defense, and our offense. In that order. Isn't it nice hearing something other than the offense is the best? Act like we've been there before. Packers fans have been there plenty, and that never stopped them making fun to my face. And of course, the Bears fans have 1985. Yeah, I know. By the way, I do have it on good authority. The NFL started the trophy ceremony, and let me look that up again because I actually looked it up in 1930 for the World Championship of the NFL. It didn't change to become the Lombardi Trophy until 1967. It had another name for it prior to that. The World Championship game trophy. It wasn't renamed till 1970. It used to be the Ed Thorpe Memorial Trophy from 1934 to 1967. So there are four trophies in the Lions case, much to the chagrin of everybody that says, you guys don't have a trophy. That's what I think. You guys don't have a trophy. You don't have any ring. Ring ceremony started in 1932. So yes, we have four rings. We have four trophies in our case. We have two conference championships. One when it was called the Central, and now one when it was called the North. Hallelujah. Hello, Ralph. Good to see you, brother. Don't forget to check us out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Don't forget to check out the Lions Fan Cave chat at 9 p.m. tonight. And don't forget who's atop the division. I'm not even doing the rest of them. It's us. 8-1. Let's make it 9-1. 2-0 in the division. Fuck them all. Dave Bipp is our unsung hero. Yeah, he had a blunder against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Dan Campbell fell on the sword for it. I'm quite sure Dan Campbell had him almost choked out after the game in his office behind closed doors. Uh, I understand. Sam Laporta is sitting this week. He hasn't practiced all week. He's out, and it's a shoulder strain, is what they're listing. It's not a UCL joint. UCL is in your elbow. People starting all sorts of crazy rumors out there. It's actually the muscle. One of the These are called the trapezoids, I believe. That goes from here to the neck. That's what's giving him the trouble. It's a shoulder strain. That's it. Not a sprain, a strain. So you ice it for 20 minutes, you heat it for 20 minutes, you do light workouts, stretching with like the weakest rubber bands in the weight room. Then you go back and hit the ice tub for 20 minutes, then you heat it for 20 minutes, then you go do it again. That's about all he's doing. And maybe they're having him catch one-handed for a while, just in case. I appreciate every single one of you. We are at 531 subscribers. I normally don't even say anything about it, but I love announcing that I'm growing without begging. That's the biggest thing, because that means my fans are doing my talking for me. The fans are doing the talking for me. That's a beautiful thing, and I appreciate every single one of you. I have fans from other teams that watch this show because of my Wednesday night show that's NFL based, and you guys all know it, the Round Table Talk. I have fans from the Ravens, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears. All of them watch it. Why? Because, when you're sitting at 68% right for picking winners straight up in the NFL, you're doing something right. There's guys on the national networks that aren't hitting 68%. There's a couple who have, and I kudos to them. 68%. That's a pretty damn good percentage, in my opinion. Act like we've been here before. You know what? We've been in the basement so long as a franchise. Since William Clay Ford took over in 1963, because the Lions were his new plaything and his Ford tax write-off. That's the way I look at it until he passed away. The hiring of Matt Millen as a GM showed how little he thought of the football team. Oh, let's get a talking head that should be a coach, make him a GM when he has no experience. The decade of despair had begun. 5 wide receivers taken, 1 worked out in the first round. 4 linebackers taken in the first round. 1 quarterback taken in the first round in his tenure. A tight end taken in the first round. He did better with 6th-round picks than he did with first-round picks. Why? In the first round, all he did was Mel Kiper's best available. He listened to Hair Helmet. Martin Mayhew was a little better. Don't for, don't sleep on Martin Mayhew. He had a good job. He did a good job with Tom Lamont there. Those guys had some good picks. They also had bonehead picks where they took the wrong person. We all know this. We've watched it. Who was the old lineman that he took in the first round for Matt Millen? Was it Goddard? Oh, Well, it is about that time I give homage to my real sponsor, Brandon Service, right at the corner of South Grand Traverse and West Atherton Road, 602 West Atherton Road. Where? In Flint, where the water's shit, but the tires are good. Stop in and check us out. Used tires starting at 45 bucks and up. New tires, call to get your quote 810-233-8230. Talk to George, Red, or myself. New tires are delivered within 1 to 2 business days. If you mention this ad, we will take care of you and give you a discount on your purchase. But stop in for friendly service. And if you come in the afternoons when I'm there, you'll definitely hear some Lions talk. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention thank you to my dad for serving 2 tours in Vietnam. He's a great veteran too. But this has been Kneecap Fighting with the Motor City Lions. It's been a blessed day. And I am looking forward to the Lions Fan Cave chat where me and a few other Lions fans and maybe Leonard will come on and we'll talk football. Have a great day, everybody.
Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first.